It all started with a problem: trust. In the early 2000s, China was experiencing rapid economic growth, but its financial system was deeply flawed. There was no national credit rating system, fraud was rampant, and businesses often failed to honor contracts. The government needed a way to fix this, fast. But instead of just creating a financial credit score, China envisioned something much bigger. A system that wouldn't just track people's ability to pay bills, but their entire behavior. And so, the China social credit empire was born. Welcome to Empire Secrets. There's a fundamental principle that drives every successful economy: trust. Without trust, businesses collapse, investments fail, loans go unpaid, trade slows, and in a nation as vast as China, where over 1.4 billion people are engaged in commerce every single day, trust is not just important, it's everything. But for much of modern China's history, there was one glaring problem: there was no reliable system to measure trust. In the late 20th century, China underwent one of the fastest economic transformations in history. A country that was once closed off to the world suddenly became a global manufacturing powerhouse. Foreign investments poured in, business deals were signed overnight, the economy skyrocketed. But amidst the rapid expansion, there was a problem: China lacked a centralized credit system. Unlike in the United States, where financial institutions had long relied on credit scores to determine who could borrow money, who could invest, and who could be trusted in business, China had no such system. For businesses, this created uncertainty. Companies often defaulted on loans, manipulated contracts, and vanished overnight, leaving investors with massive losses. Banks struggled to issue loans with confidence, entrepreneurs found it difficult to secure funding, and consumers, without any formal credit rating, were often left out of the financial system entirely. The Chinese government knew this problem couldn't continue. Without a trust system, the entire economy was at risk. In the early 2000s, Chinese leaders began exploring a radical solution: a system that wouldn't just track an individual's ability to pay bills, but would also evaluate their behavior, social reliability, and overall trustworthiness. But the real turning point came in 2014, when China formally announced the Social Credit System Initiative, a national project designed to digitally monitor, score, and regulate the behavior of individuals, businesses, and institutions. At its core, the social credit system was built to serve three key purposes. 1. Financial stability, to ensure that individuals and businesses could be trusted with loans, contracts, and investments. 2. Social order, to create a society where responsible behavior was rewarded and misconduct had consequences. 3. National security, to maintain government oversight and prevent economic disruptions caused by fraud or unethical business practices. The first major step in implementing this system wasn't taken by the government, it was taken by China's biggest tech giants. In 2015, Alibaba's Ant Financial, one of the world's largest fintech companies, introduced Sesame Credit, a private credit rating system that scored individuals based on their financial history, shopping behavior, and digital footprint. Tencent, the company behind WeChat Pay, soon followed suit, integrating credit scoring into its vast ecosystem of mobile payments, messaging, and e-commerce. At first, these systems were voluntary. People with high scores received benefits, discounts on purchases, faster approval for loans, and even VIP treatment at airports and hotels. Businesses with good credit received government incentives and priority in contracts. It seemed like a win-win, but the real shift came when the government expanded the system from finance to social behavior. What started as a financial credit system evolved into something much bigger. By 2018, China's government partnered with tech companies to create a national database that tracked not just financial history, but social behavior. Now, it wasn't just about paying your loans on time, it was about your entire reputation as a citizen. The system began monitoring traffic violations like jaywalking, running red lights, online behavior, spreading misinformation, criticizing government policies, workplace conduct, late payments to employees, corporate fraud, personal lifestyle choices, volunteering, charity donations, responsible consumption. As China expanded the system, new laws were introduced that rewarded high scores and punished low scores. People with high scores received faster loan approvals, better housing opportunities, and even travel privileges. Meanwhile, those with low scores faced restrictions, being banned from high-speed trains, losing access to credit, and even struggling to enroll their children in top schools. It was a carefully engineered financial system based on behavior. The moment China's social credit system became reality, the world took notice. Some viewed it as a technological marvel, a way to build a more accountable society. Others saw it as a dystopian nightmare, a system capable of crushing dissent and controlling lives. But no matter the opinion, one thing was clear: this was only the beginning. What started as a solution to financial instability has grown into a powerful economic tool, a political mechanism, and a system that touches every aspect of daily life. But how does it actually work? How does China calculate, track, and enforce its social credit scores? And most importantly, what happens if you fall too low? In China, your entire life can be boiled down to a single number, a number that determines whether you can board a train, apply for a loan, or even book a hotel. This number is your social credit score, and it is one of the most powerful tools of control in the modern world. But how does it work? How does China track, calculate, and enforce this system across a population of over 1.4 billion people? The answer lies in big data, artificial intelligence, and real-time behavioral tracking. The social credit system was designed to function like a trust score for every citizen and business. It's built on digital infrastructure that records, processes, and evaluates daily behaviors, everything from financial reliability to personal conduct. Unlike a traditional financial credit score, which only tracks your ability to pay loans, China's social credit system expands far beyond banking. It monitors your social interactions, work ethic, online activity, and even lifestyle choices. Every citizen starts with a default score, usually around 600 to 700 points. From there, your behavior determines whether your score rises or falls. Every interaction you have, financial, social, and digital, is logged and assigned a value. If you pay your bills on time, your score increases. If you donate to charity or engage in volunteer work, your score gets a boost. If you obey traffic laws, your score remains stable. But if you fail to pay a debt, your score drops. If you spread false information online, engage in fraudulent business activities, or even associate with low-scoring individuals, your number can plummet. The consequences of your social credit score are very real. A high score unlocks exclusive privileges, discounts on bills, priority access to travel, faster loan approvals, and even tax benefits, but a low score, it can block you from booking flights, renting apartments, and even securing a job. To track and enforce this system, China has built the largest surveillance and data collection infrastructure in human history. Over 600 million surveillance cameras are installed across China, equipped with facial recognition AI that can identify individuals in seconds. These cameras don't just track movement, they log traffic violations, public disturbances, and even minor infractions like jaywalking. Beyond physical tracking, every financial transaction is linked to a citizen's digital identity. China has nearly eliminated cash payments, forcing nearly all economic activity through platforms like WeChat Pay and Alipay, where every purchase, bill payment, and donation is recorded. This level of digital integration allows the government to see and control financial behavior like never before. If an individual misses loan payments, buys too many video games, or spends exclusively on luxury goods, it can be seen as an irresponsible behavior, leading to a potential score reduction. For those who comply with the system, life is smoother, faster, and more convenient. High-scoring citizens receive travel upgrades, hotel discounts, and better mortgage rates. Some even get priority access to government services and school admissions for their children. Businesses with strong social credit ratings gain access to better contracts, funding opportunities, and regulatory approvals. For corporations, playing by the rules doesn't just mean survival, it means profit. But on the other end of the spectrum, those with low scores face severe restrictions. Individuals who fall below a certain threshold may lose access to high-speed trains, flights, and even job applications. Some are publicly blacklisted, meaning their names and photos appear on government lists as untrustworthy citizens. For businesses, the consequences can be even more devastating. A company with a low social credit score may lose permits, contracts, and banking privileges, essentially forcing them out of the market. In a country where success depends on reputation, falling too low in the social credit rankings can mean financial ruin. China's social credit system isn't just affecting individuals, it's shaping businesses, finance, and global trade. Foreign companies operating in China must comply with the social credit framework, meaning their actions, whether ethical business practices or political statements, could affect their ability to do business. And as China expands its financial partnerships across the globe, some experts warn that elements of the social credit system could influence international banking and digital finance. The social credit system is not just a national project. It's a financial empire, an economic tool, and a digital structure of control. But there's one question left to ask. Could this system ever spread beyond China's borders? The social credit system is not just about tracking behavior. It's about controlling economic power. In China, money and reputation are intertwined. A high social credit score can open doors to business opportunities, investment advantages, and financial privileges. A low score can shut people out of the economy entirely. But the real story isn't just about individuals. It's about how the social credit system has become a trillion-dollar economic weapon. Through its financial networks, China has created a new kind of economy, one where compliance isn't just encouraged, it's mandatory. And in doing so, the country has built a system that doesn't just regulate its citizens, it shapes markets, influences global trade, and controls the financial nature of businesses operating inside and outside its borders. At its core, China's social credit system operates on a simple but powerful principle. If you're financially responsible and politically aligned with government objectives, you thrive. If you're not, you struggle. For individuals, this means better interest rates, easier access to credit, and financial perks for those who play by the rules. But for businesses, banks, and investors, the stakes are much, much higher. Companies with high social credit rankings receive preferential loans, government subsidies, and fast-track regulatory approvals. They get priority access to China's state-backed financial systems, contracts, and partnerships. But companies that fall into the low social credit territory face higher interest rates, trade restrictions, and loss of government incentives. Some are even blacklisted from key industries. In this system, success isn't just about innovation, it's about compliance. Economic power is directly tied to trustworthiness, and trustworthiness is defined by the government. For China's financial sector, social credit has become a risk management tool. Banks and lending institutions no longer rely solely on traditional credit ratings. They use social credit data to assess trustworthiness. If an entrepreneur has a high social credit score, their loan application is approved within hours. If their score is low, they may face higher interest rates, collateral requirements, or even outright rejection. This has fundamentally changed how capital flows in China. The social credit system doesn't just track transactions, it decides who gets access to financial mobility and who doesn't. At the heart of China's social credit economy is its cashless financial infrastructure. Today, over 90% of urban transactions in China happen digitally. This means every purchase, whether it's a cup of coffee, a train ticket, or an investment in stocks, is recorded, analyzed, and linked to a citizen's social credit profile. Every financial decision contributes to a person's overall trust rating. This isn't just about convenience, it's about absolute financial oversight. Social credit isn't just for individuals, it applies to corporations too. The Chinese government has implemented a corporate social credit system, ranking businesses based on factors like financial transparency, compliance with regulations, ethical labor practices, and even their environmental impact. Companies that align with state goals, such as advancing China's technology sector, supporting government initiatives, or maintaining strong worker policies, are given financial advantages. tax incentives, and exclusive investment opportunities. But businesses that fall short of compliance, whether through poor labor conditions, political misalignment, or financial mismanagement, face heavy scrutiny, fines, and potential bans from government contracts. The message is clear. Corporate success in China is not just about market performance, it's about social responsibility and government alignment. China is not just implementing social credit with its own borders, it is exporting its influence abroad. International companies doing business in China must comply with social credit regulations, or risk losing access to the world's second largest economy. This means that global corporations are indirectly forced to adhere to China's financial compliance system, political sensitivities, and digital governance rules. Some analysts warn that this could create a new global financial order, one where businesses that fail to align with China's economic standards face real-world consequences in trade, banking, and investment markets. This raises a critical question. Is China's social credit system influencing global finance? The social credit system isn't just about trust, it's a business. It's about creating an economic system where compliance is rewarded, deviation is punished, and financial stability is ensured through absolute oversight. And as the system expands, one question remains: could this be the blueprint for the future of finance? Because make no mistake, the social credit system isn't just a tool for regulation, it's a trillion-dollar empire of economic power. In China, compliance isn't optional, it's enforced. The social credit system isn't just a financial mechanism, it's a surveillance empire, one that combines big data, artificial intelligence, and advanced monitoring systems to track, analyze, and control a population of over 1.4 billion people. From the moment you wake up to the second you go to sleep, your decisions, transactions, and even conversations are being processed. The system doesn't just monitor, it reacts, and if you step out of line, the consequences are immediate. Imagine walking down the street where every step you take is recorded, every purchase you make is analyzed, every interaction is logged. In China, this isn't science fiction, it's reality. With over 600 million surveillance cameras, China operates the most sophisticated monitoring network in the world. But these aren't ordinary security cameras. They're equipped with AI-powered facial recognition, biometric scanning, and predictive analytics. It's called intelligent law enforcement, a system where the government doesn't just detect infractions, it automates punishment in real time. But surveillance doesn't stop on the streets. It extends into financial records, social interactions, and even private conversations. The Chinese government processes an unimaginable amount of data every day. Every message sent, every search query, every financial transaction, and every social interaction. But it's not just about storing data, it's about predicting behavior. Using machine learning algorithms, China's AI-driven monitoring system can identify patterns, detect potential threats, and even predict future actions. If the system detects that you've been criticizing government policies, engaging in banned activities, or even associating with blacklisted individuals, your score drops, and with it, your access to financial services, travel, and career opportunities. In a system like this, dissent isn't just punished, it's preemptively neutralized. For those who repeatedly fail to comply with the social credit system, the penalties are severe. China has created a national blacklist, a database of individuals and companies who have lost financial and social privileges. If your score drops too low, you could be banned from flights, trains, and high-end hotels. Your children may be barred from elite schools. You might be restricted from certain job opportunities. For businesses, falling on the wrong side of the social credit system can mean regulatory restrictions, frozen assets, and total economic isolation. The message is clear: comply or be erased from the system. Living under the social credit system isn't just about rules, it's about psychological conditioning. When every action, every purchase, every conversation could affect your future, self-censorship becomes second nature. Many citizens now think twice before posting opinions online, before questioning authority, before engaging in anything that could be perceived as a risk. This is the true power of the system. Not just punishment, but preventative compliance. China's social credit system isn't just affecting its own citizens, it's beginning to shape global finance, international trade, and even corporate behavior in foreign markets. Some experts warn that if this model proves effective, other governments or major corporations may adopt similar systems, using AI, surveillance, and financial incentives to regulate society at a global scale. The social credit system is more than just a score. It is an economic control mechanism, a behavioral engineering tool, and a glimpse into the future where finance and freedom are inseparable. And as the world watches China's social credit experiment unfold, one question remains: is this a system that will remain within its borders, or is it the prototype for a new financial world order? China's social credit system isn't just about individuals, it's about corporations, markets, and financial dominance. Every business operating in China, whether local or international, is now subject to a corporate trust rating that determines their ability to trade, expand, and succeed. A business's social credit score isn't just a number, it's a lifeline, and in this system, one wrong move can mean the difference between thriving or disappearing. Welcome to the era of corporate social credit, the financial ranking system that determines which businesses will rise and which will fall. For businesses in China, success isn't just about profit margins or innovation. It's about trustworthiness. Under the corporate social credit system, companies are ranked, rewarded, or punished based on their adherence to government policies, financial transparency, and even their social responsibility efforts. The government isn't just tracking numbers, it's tracking behavior, ethics, and political alignment. The ranking system determines access to state-backed funding, low-interest loans, investment opportunities, and lucrative government contracts. A high corporate score can make a business untouchable. A low score can lead to heavy penalties, financial restrictions, and even forced closure. For corporations, this system isn't just data collection, it's economic survival. Unlike traditional financial ratings, which focus purely on revenue and market performance, the corporate social credit system evaluates four major factors. 1. Financial responsibility. Accurate tax filings, debt management, and proper bookkeeping contribute to a company's score. Late payments, financial mismanagement, or even associating with blacklisted firms can lead to score reductions. 2. Regulatory compliance. Following labor laws, environmental policies, and fair trade practices boost a company's trust rating. Violating regulations, such as pollution violations, worker mistreatment, or fraudulent activities, can trigger immediate penalties. 3. Political and social alignment. Companies that support government incentives, contribute to social projects, and avoid political controversy are ranked favorably. Businesses that engage in foreign political disputes, support controversial figures, or fail to align with government policies may see their score plummet. 4. Supply chain and partner trustworthiness. A company's business relationships also affect its ranking. Partnering with high-ranked firms boosts credibility, while doing business with flagged or blacklist companies can lower a corporation's social credit score. Guilt by association. This isn't just about running a profitable business, it's about playing by the government's rules. For years, the world has watched China's social credit system with a mix of fascination and fear. Some see it as a technological marvel, a way to build a more accountable society. Others see it as a warning, a system capable of controlling lives, crushing dissent, and dictating economic success or failure. But no matter where you stand, one question remains: is the rest of the world next? The truth is, social credit isn't just a Chinese experiment. It's already here, piece by piece, system by system, regulation by regulation. And whether we realize it or not, the future of financial control is unfolding before our eyes. A full-scale social credit system doesn't happen overnight. It happens in stages. And if you look closely, you'll see that the building blocks are already in place across multiple sectors, industries, and governments worldwide. Cashless societies. Countries like Sweden, Singapore, and South Korea are leading the transition towards cashless economies. With every financial transaction recorded, monitored, and analyzed, the world is moving towards a system where access to money is entirely digital, meaning it can also be restricted. AI-driven credit and risk scores. Banks and insurance companies in the United States, UK and EU already use AI-based financial risk analysis to determine who gets a loan, what interest rates they receive, and even which investments are too risky. The difference? Unlike China, these systems aren't controlled by the government. Yet. Corporate behavioral monitoring. Some Fortune 500 companies have introduced workplace behavioral tracking, monitoring employees' productivity, political views, and social interactions. In some industries, these factors now play a role in hiring, promotions, and career opportunities. The tools for social credit are not only possible in other countries, they're already being used, just under different names. Many people assume that social credit can never happen outside of China, but the truth is Western governments and corporations are already experimenting with digital trust systems. In the United States, some financial firms and social platforms have proposed using behavior-based credit scoring models that go beyond financial history, tracking spending patterns, social circles, and online behavior. In the European Union, new digital identity initiatives are being introduced that could tie financial access to personal reputation, ESG compliance, and behavioral monitoring. These initiatives aren't being branded as social credit, but they function the same way. It's not just governments. Big tech is already creating its own version of social credit. Social media platforms have now algorithmic trust scores, ranking users based on their engagement, political views, and online behavior. Some platforms already restrict reach, demonetize content, or ban users based on trust metrics. But what happens when this digital reputation extends beyond social media? What if your Uber rating affects your ability to rent a car? What if your Amazon purchase history determines your ability to get a loan? What if your online activity was analyzed before being approved for an apartment lease? The private sector is already building a fragmented version of social credit, one that operates outside government oversight, and one that is far harder to detect. Some believe that China's social credit system is an outlier, an extreme model that will never take hold in the West, but others warn that we are sleepwalking into a global social credit economy, one that operates through AI, data tracking, and financial incentives. It won't happen all at once, it won't be announced as a social credit system, but step by step, policy by policy, the mechanisms are already being put into place. In the future, could financial freedom become a privilege, granted only to those who align with the digital trust system? Could economic access be tied not just to financial responsibility, but to complete social and political compliance? If so, who decides what's trustworthy, who controls the system, and how far will it go? This is no longer just about China. It's about the future of financial access, corporate power, and digital governance. If the next era of finance is built on AI-driven compliance, behavioral monitoring, and algorithmic trust systems, we have to ask, is this still free market capitalism, or is it something entirely new? Because, make no mistake, the world is already moving towards a digital reputation economy. The only question is, who controls it? We always assumed social credit was a Chinese experiment. We thought it was a distant, foreign system, one that could never exist in the West, one that could never happen to us. But what if we were wrong? What if social credit isn't coming? What if it's already here? What if the world isn't resisting it but sleepwalking into it? One piece at a time, regulation by regulation, compliance by compliance, until one day we wake up and realize every decision, every transaction, every opportunity is determined by a system we never agreed to be a part of. And in that moment, it won't matter who you are, it won't matter how much money you have, it won't matter what you believe. The system will already decide for you. Social credit is no longer a theory. It's no longer a possibility. It's the future. The question isn't if it will happen, the question is when. And when that moment comes, will you be ready? Your desire, your empire.